5-star. This is a day that got a lot of clients today, but there's a few things I do before I see my clients. Really important for my mental health, and I'm going to take you on a little trip, and we're going to have a workout, and then I'm going to come back home, get some breakfast, and get ready for the rest of the day. So here we go. When it's this early and it's this cold, often it's important to get pre-workout in me because I'm going to need it.
Okay, first things first with my day today. It's early, you caught me early, and it's cold, but for me when it comes to mental health on a working day, it's really important to stick to my routine. So this is the kind of thing I would do, like, you know, when it's a nice day outside, when it's summer, when it's light, I would still be getting up. I would still be getting up early. I would still get my workout in. My workout regime is so important to me, but it's had to change a wee bit now that I'm a dad. So I don't really work out in the evenings anymore, because I got to spend time with my son and just help out there where I can. So I used to do early morning workouts all the time. Actually, I used to do early morning workouts when I was younger. So I honestly think it's one of the best times, or it's the best time to do your workout, because you just kick the day off right. It's hard, it's not easy, but I just think it's just the right thing to do. It's a good way to get moving, get the body moving, get blood flowing a little bit. It's something I do love, regardless of how difficult it is to get there and get going. I do love it. So it's an important part of my day. So obviously the gyms are closed right now. My in-laws have been gracious enough to convert part of their kind of detached garage to their house. So I've got a little gym set up there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to head off now. Let's go. This is something very different for GetPsyched. Any of you guys who are, you know, regular viewers of GetPsyched will know that this is not our normal format, and that's intentional. I want to do something a little bit different today. Today we're doing a full day vlog, and I've been putting this off for a long time. Been worried about doing this one because we've been doing GetPsyched now for 3 years, but that lecture style, that stuff in front of the camera where it's scripted, it's edited, it's lighted, I feel comfortable with that. As uncomfortable as I felt with it when I first started, I feel much better with it now. I can manage that. This is different. So today we're not going to have it edited as much as possible. We're not going to have good lighting. This is the lighting in my car. Hopefully the audio is going to be okay. It's all going to be filmed on my phone, but I want to take you guys through a full day of my life just to get you guys an impression of how I manage my own mental health, my own mental well-being. Not for like a kind of, this is the stuff I do during the day, which is really boring, but actually giving you guys some tips on how I structure my day and what the kind of things are really important for me when it comes to mental well-being when I'm doing my job as a psychologist. So yeah, I've got a busy day of clients today, but I just want to take you guys through how I manage that. You know, what I do throughout my day, that's maybe how a psychologist manages their mental health in a time of corona, time of lockdown, busy days. You know, not that I have it perfect by any stretch of the imagination, I don't, but maybe have a little bit more of an insight into the things that are important when it comes to mental health and mental well-being. And I just want to give you guys that insight rather than just sitting in front of that camera and scripting stuff out. Maybe some people will find this more valuable. So here we go. Okay, we're here. This is the setup. I'm gonna let you guys see a little bit of the weights as well, because this is gets a little bit ghetto, but it's important. I have to get this in. You know, I would feel like my day really wouldn't be complete in some ways, and I definitely think my mental health suffers when I have a workout day, when I'm meant to work out and I don't. My mental health suffers when I have that structure and I don't apply it. You know, if I wake up night before, if I'm thinking, right, yep, definitely going for a workout early morning, I wake up and I don't go, that really throws my day off. So I really don't want to do that today. So I'm glad I've not. It's not often I do that. I do it sometimes, of course. But yeah, I'm glad that we've got going today. One of the issues I do have though is that it's like -1 in here, and I forgot my gloves. So fortunately, I've got some spare like super woolly socks, and I'm just gonna have to grab dumbbells with these. But you got to improvise in lockdown. This is the weight setup. So we're gonna get a little chest and shoulder workout in today, probably around about 50 minutes, and then we'll get going with the rest of the day. think one of the keys for me, and some advice maybe for people wanting to manage their mental health better in lockdown, is adapting. So, you know, normally I'd be in a gym, normally it'd be warm, and I would have all the equipment available to me. I wouldn't have to think about it. Here I have to think a little bit more about it, so I can't just pick up dumbbells and go. I need to screw on the weights, I need to remove the plates. I've only got a certain amount of time, so normally for an exercise I would do like 4 or 5 sets. Here I do more than that, so I'll maybe go 8, 9, 10 sets, because it stops me from just having to remove plates, put stuff back on, and just, you know, waste time. So adapting to that, adapting to my climate, being able to try and keep a similar structure and do the things that I still enjoy and get value from, but adapting them. Excuse the gloves. And that's an important tip for everybody. So often I think what happens in lockdown is we lose that structure, we lose that intent, we lose the things that we enjoy. And that's understandable, of course, that's going to happen to a degree, but we need to learn to adapt, to try and implement some of the things that we used to do to help manage our mental well-being, our mental health. And I try and do that here. I'm trying to give you an example of how I do that with the gym, with working out. Big part of my life. A lot of people know from following GetPsyched, it's a huge part of my life, but it's not the same right now, and I've got to change it up. I've got to switch it up. So that's just one of the ways I adapt. Adapting, I think, is paramount when we've got climate like this, when we've got a situation like this, and we're trying to manage our mental health. So much changes around us, so much changes in the society around us, so much changes with us, but we need to try and adapt, to try and keep some kind of structure, routine, and purpose. So think about some of the things that have changed in your life after lockdown with coronavirus as well. Some of that stuff is unchangeable, no doubt, but how can you adapt? How can you change your circumstances, your climate, to implement more of that structure, or to do some of those things that you do enjoy? I'm making it sound super easy, I know it's not, but you can give that some thought. Back to work. Another point there on adapting. So one of the things that I'm not able to do is always get a full hour. Because I'm doing this, because I'm vlogging a little bit, then it might pull me back a wee bit. So as you see, I'm kind of clustering some exercises together, I'm supersetting, because I probably just don't have the time to do all of them separate. So again, just another example of adapting. Maybe putting those exercises together a wee bit, doing them back to back and taking less time in here. Still getting, hopefully, some of a similar workout in. Yeah, just adapting like that. Again, it's just some small tips that I found helpful during lockdown. As I try to keep a job alive, keep going, that adapting and moving with the climate where I can has been really central for me. This is another thing, when you know it's been 10 months of lockdown, it's the stuff that you used that worked at the start is falling apart. There's another screw that's come out, not my head, but at the bench. It's a matter of time before this thing falls down on me. Gonna do some overhead pressing with some push-ups. Again, clustering some of those exercises, and you probably won't see me do the push-ups because I'm going to be down on the floor doing them, but it's the next exercise about halfway through because we're doing so many sets in exercise. But yeah, just trying to stay at it, stay energized, and yeah, here we go. So, this is probably the last exercise. It's really difficult for me to get a full hour like I normally would, so 45 minutes, 50 minutes is usually a winner. That's usually a good deal for me. So, gonna do this last exercise, finish up here, might do a wee finisher, and then back home for some breakfast. And we're done. Okay, I've definitely had better workouts. It's one of the issues of having kind of construct your own gym routine or your own workout when you don't have the gyms available to you, is something I've actually learned about mental health in general, particularly for me, is that I need to be better at accepting my circumstances and things that I just can't control. Like, that gym setup isn't ideal. It really takes a lot of time to get it all together. I can't lift as heavy as I normally would. In all honesty, I can't work out as intensely as I used to when I had a gym available to me. But there's really nothing I can do about that. And I say this to clients so often that sometimes I can be a real hypocrite with stuff like that. I think our mental health is so determined on learning that we can't control certain things, but committing to things that we can control. So for example, I can't control that I don't have heavy enough weights in there. I can't control that the gyms aren't open. I can control me getting up in the morning and going and getting something in. And I need to learn to accept that. I'm not very good at being able to just, to accept circumstances like that. At times I need to be a little bit better at that. And it's one of the things I want to do with this video is, I'm just turning the air on in this car a wee bit, is I don't want to like make it look like I've got it all together, okay? So, I really mean that. That's part of the reason why, I'm not doing special editing or lighting or filming really, anything like that. It's because I want this to be fully honest. There are many things I could be doing better for my mental health. And I think sometimes people think that psychologists or therapists have it all together. They really don't. It's part of the reason sometimes what makes people good therapists or psychologists is recognizing that. And it's particularly the case for me. I need to be able to accept those kind of circumstances better. And yeah, learn that there's just some things I can't control. One of the other things I really don't want to do is, and I think there was a little bit of temptation for me to do this, is pretend like I do things that I don't do. So like, for example, I think when you're doing a vlog or something like that, you're doing a video, it's really easy to say, oh, I do this and I do meditation at night and I make sure to stay off my phone and all these kind of things that are good for your mental health. I don't do those things enough. I do get up early. That is something I do in the morning and work out. So that is honest. I do that. I could be spending a heck of a lot less time on my phone. I was thinking that the other night. One of the things I wanted to talk to people about is about being careful what they're absorbing on their phone and the media. And I know that that's good for your mental health to a degree. We need to know what's going on in the world, but that needs to be measured. But I don't do it enough. I am on my phone too much, and I read the media too much, and I get absorbed into stories too much, and I get, emotional rushes. Let's call it that, when we hear certain stories or hear the opinions of certain people. And I need to mediate that a little bit better. So I really want to get that across too. I'm not going to pretend like I do that stuff. It's one of the ways that I can improve. What I was going to show you was me singing as loud as I could to the radio in the car, but I'll probably get done for copyright. I just realised that. But it got me thinking that sometimes it's good to have a little bit of distraction, and if it means just kind of switching off a little bit when you're driving, not too much of course, but and just having a bit of a sing along to Fat Joe, and who could blame you? Sometimes that's the best intervention. Okay, we're back home, and one of the things that I talk about, I've done videos on this actually before on GetPsyched, is about nutrition and mental health. I'm a huge believer in that, massive believer in that. And so I'm going to run you through what I have for breakfast. Pretty much the same thing every day really, particularly after a workout. And yeah, kind of what I eat, getting ready for the day ahead, how I supplement as well, because supplements for me are important, and staying hydrated too. So I'm going to run you through a little bit of that. I have oats, and I have an omelette as well with spinach, and I have 2 whole eggs and 4 egg whites. Now that sounds like a lot, it sounds like a lot of protein. I make sure to bring a lot of focus to protein in my diet, but particularly in the morning, there have been clinical studies that show that increases in protein, particularly in the morning, can be really helpful for managing depression and anxiety. And that sounds weird, particularly if you've experienced any anxiety and depression, but it shows you the power of nutrition, particularly for mental health. That's why I put such a focus on it. That's why I've done videos on it on GetPsyched as well. Big handful of spinach as well. I'm trying to do my best Joe Wicks impression here. Okay, next up is 50 grams of oats, and I put a little bit of honey in that as well. And then one of my all-time favourite things in the world is peanut butter. But it's the whole earth, not the whole earth peanut butter, but the stuff that doesn't really have sugar in it. I love that stuff, good to get some fats in you early as well. For the oats as well, I put some cinnamon on that just because I like the flavour, but the one thing you really don't want to do is mix up the cinnamon with the chili powder, which is literally what I was just about to do there. The whole vlog would have been a write-off after that, so yeah. Still early doors, so make sure you're focused. Okay, so it's breakfast. I made sure to pretty much get a litre of water in my early doors. Omelette, there are the oats, And then supplements as well, I wanted to mention this. So I take fish oil, I take vitamin B, I take vitamin D. If you live in Scotland, you definitely need some vitamin D, and you believe me. And a multivitamin as well. Supplements aren't the be all and end all, and without a proper diet then they don't really mean much, but I find them helpful just to make sure I'm getting the right nutrition in me. And again, just harking on about the importance of nutrition and mental health. It's so important. This is usually what I have every morning, and it sets me up right. Okay, just in the door of the office today, the therapy room, and really looking forward to a busy day of clients. Feel good after that workout, after that breakfast, and ready to go. Now this is a big part of my day. First coffee of the day. I'm usually a bit of a coffee snob. I don't take much instant coffee, but when we're kind of, when we don't have any other options, then I'll go for it. You probably hear the kettle boiling in the background. One of the things about coffee intake is I feel like I've got to be a little bit careful with it. I think I maybe take too much. I'm sure there's research out there that talks about excessive caffeine and maybe anxiety. There's probably a place for that, but at the same time, I've got to kick my day off the right way, and just got into the office, so a bunch of clients today, need to get a bit of a caffeine hit in me. Coffee's a go-to. One of the things that I always do whenever I've got a heavy day ahead of me is I usually come into the office. I'm usually pretty early coming into the office, and I just make sure everything is set up. So I want to get the chairs right, table right. I want to make sure everything's cleaned up. Obviously, we need to make sure that hygiene's at an optimal level during coronavirus. So I make sure that that's all done. I get a jug of water, make sure I've got everything that I need, just so that I'm not rushing around when my first client's coming in. And again, that's just a good thing for me to make sure that I'm not I can just fully focus on my client work, and I don't have to worry about all the stuff around me. So yeah, just better kick off the day with our first few clients. One of the things that sometimes happens in private work with therapy clients is you get cancellations. And got a cancellation today, a bit of a late cancellation. These things kind of happen now and again. But one of the things that I often say on GetPsyched in particular is about mental health management sometimes can come in the form of being productive. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but when you've got a bunch of tasks to do or things that you've kind of been putting off a wee bit, that can weigh heavy on me. I'm sure that's the case for you to a degree as well, when you've got like a bunch of to-do list tasks and you just haven't got around to it. So one of the things that I do is whenever I got a free hour like I do right now, which I wasn't expecting, I make sure to go through my to-do list and try and tick off some of those smaller jobs that have been kind of niggling at me a wee bit. I personally find that a really good tip for mental health management, actually, because I feel much more productive. I feel much more on top of things. And again, if you're anything like me, when you feel like things are kind of out of control a wee bit, your mental health can suffer. That's exactly the case for me. So I like to be productive, use my time effectively, maybe go grab a quick coffee and then get a little bit of work done, but use the hour wisely. I often think that helps me with my mental health. You can probably hear in the background, there's some kind of music that you maybe wouldn't have thought that I'd be all that into. It's like instrumental calming music. I have to tell you, it's been such a game changer for me when I'm doing work, or even sometimes when I'm on the bus, other times when I'm in between clients, just having a bit of peaceful, calm music that I don't have to listen to lyrics or words too much. Like, I find that so beneficial. Just helps me stay focused a little bit when I'm working. I just type into YouTube like ambient music or something like that, and you can sometimes get videos that are like 3 hours long, no interruptions, and just really nice peaceful music. So, little tip for you there. Okay, so I managed to get a little bit of work done there. Again, I find that really helpful for me, just to kind of feel like I'm staying on top of things of what can already be a really busy schedule. It just feels good to get jobs done. So better see my next client in the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll take it from there. I'm gonna grab some lunch. Such a temptation to stay in the office when I'm working, but when I can, I try and get some time outside, get some fresh air. At any point, I just realised I've got my mask on still. At any point during the day, if I get to get out of the office and get into a bit of nature right next to a motorway, which isn't exactly natural, but there's trees, so we'll class it as nature, then that's a really good thing. getting some oxygen. See, there was a study recently, they were talking about the importance of being in nature during lockdown for depression and anxiety, and honestly I feel that. See, when I'm in a bit of an open air space, this isn't exactly like a natural habitat or anything right next to our motorway, but when you're in a bit of a natural space, just like spending time looking at nature is a really good thing, and I find that really helpful for my mental health and work when I can get cooped up in that office. I'm sure many of you are in the same boat. So yeah, getting out of the office, getting out of the building, getting some oxygen, getting around some trees, that kind of good stuff. That's really helpful. Big tip there. Okay, just about to see the last client of the day. And what I often do when I'm about to see my last client of the day, right before it, is I make sure to pack all my stuff up, because one of the things for me in mental health and my work as a psychologist is separating professional and personal life. And that's a really important distinction for me. So I make sure to make it clear. And it helps me give my all to each client I work with, I feel anyway, and especially my last client, even when maybe you're feeling a little more tired in a day, feeling like I have everything together, I don't need to think about anything after that last client, I can just head off, get ready to get home and chill out, spend some time with family, all the kind of things that are good for my mental well-being is a really helpful tip. And again, you know, you may not even be a psychologist, just in work in general, having that distinction between professional and personal life is vital, I think. And when I'm working with people's emotional well-being, I think leaving things at the door where I can and creating that line between personal and professional life is vital. So I make sure to get everything packed. I'm going to do that now and see my last client, make sure I'm really focused for that, and then get ready for home. It's the end of the working day for me. And yeah, like I was saying, just creating that separation between personal and professional life is vital. And I get home to go and see my family, which is really nice. And that really helps me park stuff at the door, if I'm honest. So I really cherish that, really value that, having that opportunity to just be around family. Not everybody has that. So being grateful for those things is paramount for me. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing them. After a long day, a good day, busy day, but a bit long. So yeah, it's nice to be getting home. Okay, back home, and managed to just hang out with the family for a wee bit. But one of the first things I do is get changed, and honestly just creating a marker between personal life and professional life I think is so important. So I make sure to make that distinction. One of the key ways I do that is by getting changed out of my work clothes and into some casual clothes. So again, for you that may be the case as well. Actually, like, creating that distinction between personal and professional life is vital, particularly with my job, I think. And yeah, just like having like a marker where, right, getting out of my work clothes into some comfy clothes, chilling out clothes, I always find that helps as well. So yeah, starting to wind down a wee bit. It honestly feels so good to be home as well. Just getting some time off to switch off a wee bit. On Wednesdays I finish a little bit earlier, so it's nice I get to get home a wee bit earlier and just chill out. Tonight might do a wee bit of reading, get some dinner, and yeah, just feel like things are kind of settling down a wee bit, which is nice for today. As you can probably hear my son screaming in the background, the relaxation might not last long, but we'll roll with it for now. One of the big things I'm an advocate of in life for managing your mental health, particularly in a job like mine, is contrast, because I spend a lot of my time kind of doing the emotional deep work with people, and that's a huge part of my life, it's a huge part of my job, but I have to contrast that with other things. Part of the reason why I love working out, and I find that so helpful for my own mental health. It's weird, but cooking sometimes can be like that for me too. Like, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy kind of making a family meal and making something tasty, hopefully. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Cook a meal and have some dinner. Never really know how much spaghetti you're meant to use and how you measure that. Does anybody know how to do that? I feel like I always make too much or make too little. Boom. Okay, so we're kind of coming to the end of the day. One of the things that I've been trying to do a little bit more of, not always as successfully, but doing a little bit more reading. So I'm kind of dipping into 2 books right now.
One of them is about YouTube, so it's like just YouTube secrets by a guy called Sean Cannell, who's like a really successful YouTuber. Kind of talking just a little bit about algorithm stuff in YouTube, looking to grow the channel as always. And then I'm also kind of keen, this book's a bit bent actually, but I'm keen to look into a little bit more about dialectical behavioural therapy. That doesn't really sound like the most exhilarating reads in the world, but for me, just doing a little bit of light reading in the evening sometimes can be really helpful for me. One of the things I've realised I've done tonight is I've watched probably too much TV, and I've been on my phone probably a little bit too much, so you know, that's not been good for me personally. I think particularly when it comes to like news stuff and things like that, like sometimes it's good to avoid that at times. So I'm trying to compensate a little bit with a bit of extra reading. So yeah, I find that kind of thing quite useful. Today has been a little bit different from GetPsyched. It's about 10:30 now, so I'm gonna head to bed, get a reasonably good sleep, hopefully, if my son doesn't wake up too much. Putting him down to bed was a bit of a shift tonight, so hopefully he's not up throughout the night. But yeah, I've enjoyed doing this, a little bit different from GetPsyched. Hopefully you guys have found some value in it and follow me through what's kind of like a typical day for me. And also just kind of how I manage my mental health, my mental well-being in a busy day, because today's been really busy and there's been a lot going on. So hopefully you get some tips from how to kind of manage your mental health as a psychologist or just in your everyday life. Maybe there's some tips, some things that you'd like to pick up and do for your own day that are good for your mental health. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed today. And yeah, we'll catch you soon.